Mbagi kote pou mwete me kay mwen la. Msanse kou. Mbagi kote pou mdormi. Nou mkiti gran moun pe debat nou la.
Hey, Mark Snyder?
Hey, Miss Mitchell, how you doing?
Oh my God, where are you?
Oh, I'm in a market. All kinds of crazy shit happening at the moment.
A 7.0 earthquake hit Haiti on January 12, 2010. A staggering 1 out of 2 American households donated $1.4 billion to charity. 10 months later, we wanted to know where that money went.
Well, why don't we meet up and we'll go out and take a look? Because I'm sure if we walk on the streets, we'll be able to see what's driving around with all that money.
25 out of 27 government buildings collapsed, along with nearly 300,000 others. There's enough cement rubble to build 7 Hoover dams. 3 million were left homeless. There were at least 230,000 dead, including 17% of the government.
Jesus, look at that. What it looks like is that it got shelled. Honestly, it looks like you guys had a war.
This is nothing.
To help me sift through all this, I had a couple guides. Jenny was an American who moved back to Haiti. She wanted to be a social worker, but she was working as a translator. Alex worked at a bank until his job literally collapsed. Now, he drives journalists and aid workers around Port-au-Prince. Cholera had killed over 1,000 in the north, and now a hurricane was on track to hit Port-au-Prince within days.
In this building, they already have like dead body inside.
Because they haven't cleared it out.
They can't. It's too expensive because you have to pay the government to come and get clean. And nobody knows who is inside.
According to the UN, there are 1.5 million internally displaced persons, or IDPs, living in about 1,300 camps. But the UN doesn't count camps of fewer than 500 people, and those camps are everywhere, crammed in alleys, parks, against churches. Experts estimate that the number is closer to 2 million. Among those looking after them, roughly 10,000 NGOs. We say roughly because there are so many, no one really knows. But the number gives Haiti the most NGOs per capita in the world, 1 for every 900 people. There is an effort to get people out of the city to better camps. Canando is supposed to be one of them, about 9 miles away. It was hot, it was humid, and it was angry. We arrived right in the middle of a fight.
Wait, how many months have you been here?
January.
Do you have a lot of people who come here to see this?
They come, but nothing.
But nothing. But who comes?
OEM, Aspen, ACF,
ACF.
All Vision.
Apil. Ils viennent mettre pas extérieur. Ils viennent là pour information simplement. C'est belle machine pour la.
How many people?
5,081 people.
Papa petite maman.
Yeah.
We're talking 5,000 people. How many toilets do they have?
6 toilettes.
You want to go see?
The toilets are very, very close to where people are actually living.
Yeah.
Okay. Ouais, là, c'est toilette. Yo pas nettoyer pour nous sans matière fécale là pour nous cause nous contaminer. Il y a toujours qui pue mal toujours.
Oh God. Okay.
C'est faire prévention contre maladie que le choléra qui c'est plus gros candidat nous gagne dans moment. Candidat ça, c'est seul candidat qui pas connaît ni belle femme, ni bel garçon, ni blanc, ni nègre.
So I see the signs for cholera to help prevent cholera, but where do you wash your hands?
You will.
Bon nous pas pour nous boire.
Some camps are managed by NGOs, but there is no NGO in charge of Kannon-do. In fact, no one seemed to be in charge of anything.
Like, how is this supposed to help provide any shelter whatsoever? What's she saying now?
Ouais. C'est moun k'ap demandan.
How many? One person?
Combien de monde qui dorment là?
3 moun qui demandan.
So this is the kitchen.
Organiser nous obliger faire là si nous yo ka joindre nous plat chaud.
Mais parfois tout c'est pas rien le faire parce que c'est tirer faut nous faire.
Regardez la pli tomber manger à
bagay c'est courir nous
la donne manger perdi. Si moun yo grand goût, oui. De l'eau qu'on tombe dans manger yo, de l'eau sale. Nan manger yo. M'bagé côté pour m'rete mes kay moi là. M'sensé kou, m'bagé côté pour m'dormi. Même petit grand moun peut débattre nous là.
With no greater authority in Kannon-do, the people were turning on each other.
Show me the arm, please.
C'est peut-être ça. C'est eux même qui fait des autres.
Mais le problème nous arrive là, qui ça vous dire pour nous important là, actuellement le Canada a un gros problème qui traverse là. Entre conflit, entre médecins qui investissent dans un groupe de nègres, qui battent les gens, la police bat les gens, tire les gens, qui cherchent les gens. Non, non.
Bon, sans confrère, nous avons un dialogue. Mais côté moi, même, merci. Ça m'a dit pour prendre pencher avec la situation. Il est là, il a tombé, l'eau a tombé là, il est entré en bas. Malgré vieux bois, nous faisons une sorte de poudre qui a tombé, malgré le pourri. Yo doit arrêter n'importe qui vent cause quelqu'un a crasé. Exactement, madame moi petite moi là nous était. Nous gon petit monde. Mais madame moi actuellement je travaille même pas travail depuis 12 janvier, je pas jeune travail me fait parce que même c'est construction me fait c'est boss maçon. Par rapport à tout pays écrasé et son plaisir pour tant une travail c'est comme ça tout nous pas jeune travail même. Tout côté malé l'aime ta descendre. Parfois, je prends à pied, descendre nous tomber moi une machine. Je ne peux pas jouer dans une route, machine. Et malgré ma cherche de travail, je ne peux pas marine à parrain, je ne peux pas jouer dans une journée de travail.
Many Americans do not know that this happened. They gave money to make it better for you.
Du côté pas c'est rien du tout. Toutes les autres bails manger à Google, mais nous pas jamais à trouver avec pas possible. Du tout. C'est quelque ONG qu'on passe à Timami tire dans sachet, qu'on capte bolaria, bail les moun yo courir pour yo courir la semaine.
It's hot and it's you know the sun.
10 months later, is it going to take another 10 months? Is it going to take 10 years? Like, when are they going to be helped?
Our first night in Haiti, we met up with Mark Snyder, a former Coast Guardsman, now a human rights advocate with International Action Ties, a community development organization. He walks the camps every day.
There's a lot of despair in that camp.
I think that you're going to see this with consistency in every camp that you visit.
That's something serious. You are going to see. When your plane touched down, it's immediately obvious, even before you've hit the ground, that Haiti's earthquake-affected population is still living on the edge.
You understand? And one day this happened and they go there to leave and they don't know how long they're gonna be in this place. And they mad. I used to go to this church since I was a kid. All the presidents used to go to this church.
Are people living here?
Yeah, he lives there with the baby.
Hello?
He lives there with the baby.
Mark Schuller is an expert on NGOs in Haiti. He and a team of students spent the summer walking through over 800 camps to compile a definitive study about conditions there.
There's a humanitarian charter where the big NGOs like the Red Cross, like CARE, like Save the Children, got together and said, here are the minimum standards for humanitarian aid. That no more than 20 people can share a toilet, that they must be either segregated by gender or by households. But even in the best camps, you have these tents that rip.
Before the earthquake, it was a park to play soccer.
This was a park to play soccer.
Camp Park Esmery is managed by a local Haitian organization run by Ernst Lewis. It has water, food, schools, and toilets. But there's a catch.
Well, the NGOs that are managing the camps are supposed to make sure that the people that provide services do their job. Some NGOs are good at it, some NGOs aren't so good at it. That's the problem when you have a privatized system. There's not one standard that the government sets that everyone follows.
No. Let me explain. This toilet, when you go inside, the peas go in a way. The faces go in another way. We have 9,000 people use.
9,000 people use 10 toilets?
Yeah.
And that's the catch. Oxfam International in particular is focused on solving this. It's one of the NGOs that does what it says it will. Right now, besides distributing water, they're all about toilets. Really good toilets.
The bottom line is that this country has almost no water and sanitation infrastructure.
Yeah.
And when we talk about rebuilding Haiti and we say reconstruction, I think what most people think, especially given what the scene here with all the plastic sheeting and all the destroyed houses, is you think homes, you think buildings. And what we have to remember is that we have to provide people with the most basic level of services as well. A place to go to the bathroom, to go to the toilet, a way to get clean drinking water, a place to dispose of trash. And why do we do all of that? For their health.
How much does each toilet cost?
It varies in cost. We built, and we've been building, we're still building, elevated latrines so that you have a wooden platform, a few stairs. It's 60 centimeters off the ground.
Yeah.
All of that costs around $1,000 a latrine. We're maxed out. We are totally maxed out. I can say personally, everyone is working around 90 hours a week. It's not sexy. And it's hard to get donor money for these kinds of things because they're like, what kind of work do you do? And you're like, pee and poo. But what I love about that water and sanitation work is that it is so basic and we can save so many lives that way.
The latrine situation, I was shocked when I read this. The average when I didn't do that is over 300 people per one toilet. And very shockingly enough, like almost half the toilets that are, almost half the toilets hadn't been cleaned since January 12th.
Look, we're 9 months on now from the quake, nearing 10. As crazy as that sounds, and we have to say, aren't we done with the emergency phase? Aren't we on to the reconstruction phase? I think it's very clear, as when your plane touched down, it's immediately obvious, even before you've hit the ground, that Haiti's earthquake-affected population is still living on the edge.
This camp is called Place Saint-Pierre. We were told that there are 3,000 families here. So that's approximately 7,000 people. We saw exactly 3 toilets for all those people. And it's right across from a police station and one of the nicer hotels. The toilets are directly on the street and the smell is... Oh my God.
Dude, do not barf in the car.
I won't. So this very nice restaurant is just not even a block away from the camp that we just saw. And then you have CARE right up there.
You mean, what are you gonna do? It's the reality.
This isn't just typical third world disparity. In Haiti, no one's in charge of the NGOs. They don't report to anyone, so there's no accountability and no way to measure performance.
Say in the red graffiti.
Down with being hungry. We want to eat.
They're packed in, and the toilets are right on the street. What camp is this, guys?
This is ground zero of the Haiti Misery Tour. Champ Mars is across the street from the presidential palace, about 52,000 people right in the middle of Port-au-Prince. It should look familiar. This is where all the media come. A man walked up to me while we were shooting.
So we do that. So after what we do with that? So I want to know. I always see everything, same things, nothing never change. Always like that. What we do with that?
He's like, why do you always come here and shoot this? He's in English.
He always saw white people coming here, filming, ask people are there living, and they didn't see nothing change. How come you go live like that in this place, a place that you used to visit every Sunday with your family? You understand? And they don't know how long they're gonna be in this place, and they mad.
Many Haitians told us that the NGOs may not know how to take care of the IDPs, but they know how to take care of themselves.
Go tonight at some fancy restaurant. You are going to see.
Okay, so we have the camp on one side, and then here we've got the SUVs. Really big. This is very nice.
We have a Bordeaux for $72.
Okay, so we're sitting maybe 50 feet away from a camp where you literally could smell the toilets. And now we're sitting in a restaurant where there's escargot in the menu for $7 US. And if you want a New York steak, if you're missing New York, you can have that too. That's $34. And there's also lobster salad. That's $15.50. That's an appetizer. And again, just right across the way are people who maybe, what do you think they're eating tonight?
Maybe they're not eating.
Next time on Political Graffiti.
This
is consistent with what was described recently by Refugee International as a paralyzed disaster response.
People think, oh well, it was spent in the country. It hasn't been spent in the countries.
Everybody is scared right now.
Scared?
Yeah, everybody is scared. Me, I'm not scared. I'm always like that. I'm not scared, I'm cool. They say you have to flood the camp and go. Go where? In the street. It's right in the street. The problem is me, I got a baby. Fuck.
I wonder how sturdy the Chinese tents are compared to the UNICEF.
They're not waterproof.
They're not?
Rains, no. They're canvas, so like if they're not pulled very taut, they leak through. And so see this person with the tarp over it, that will be a little more likely to keep them dry.
Wow.
Yeah.
10 months and $1.4 billion in charitable donations after the quake, suddenly Haiti was sitting in the path of a Category 2 hurricane, and incredibly, no one was ready for it.
What we're doing now is planning to make sure that we can have a sustainable difference in the country.
But many observers we talked to said the country was in even worse shape than 6 months ago. But despite that, the Red Cross had already moved on. The largest NGO in Haiti, which had received the most donations at nearly $500 million, declared the emergency phase over in April.
I mean, this is consistent with what was described recently by Refugee International as a paralyzed disaster response. Virtually no coordination. Supposedly there's going to be a hurricane that hits Haiti, Hurricane Thomas. What preparations have been made in order to ensure that these people are safe? Nothing. What they're going to do after everyone gets killed and all the tarps are ripped. They talked about what's going to happen afterwards. They've had 10 months to prepare for what's going to happen when it hits.
I hope no one's living in that tent.
There's someone on the other side of it. I think that's maybe just where they... Yeah. So there's a lot of people that lost their tents in that storm that was about a month ago.
NGOs like the Red Cross said they were settling in Haiti for the long term.
$175 a night. Thanks, NGOs.
But that money, experts say, often causes inflation in disaster zones.
And that's one of the reasons why I say that aid is in disarray. First of all, it creates all kinds of distortions. Distortions with regards to prices, with regards to wages,
That you're seeing rents skyrocket. The UN themselves say that like 300%, that rents have gone up since the earthquake.
It doesn't surprise me at all because they have flooded the country with expatriates.
So they estimate the population of the whole area to be 32,000, I believe.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
Bon, quand c'est l'ouverture, il a vu avec 100 familles. Plus que 250 events qui te fait nos cadeaux de latrine depuis les sacs que nous pas jamais recevoir rien. Mais malgré le plein, bon, on continue à aller là-dedans.
This actually has latrines, where you're talking almost 70% of camps do not.
There are many people gave money to help Haitians. Where would you tell them their money has gone?
Bon, tout simplement que ça me décale dire les faire, c'est payer au bien bel hôtel pour dormir. C'est payer bel hôtel ou les belles machines. C'est ça que me dit. Mais le peuple là, il a toujours été bien dans la même misère noire.
Most NGOs, like for example the Red Cross, rely on private donations. But many NGOs, like for example the Red Cross, also take taxpayer dollars. And these funds bring up a whole new issue as to where the money went. Graciana Del Castillo is a former senior economist for the UN and an expert in post-conflict reconstruction.
People think, oh, well, it was spent in the country. It hasn't been spent in the countries. Most of it goes into goods and services that are provided by the US. So very little of that gets into the country.
Delco for the generators, Ford for the SUVs, Dell for the computers.
Schiller says NGOs are the biggest consumers of American products in Haiti. There's a good reason for this: Congress. It's called Tide Aid, a phenomenon well known in the aid world. It works like this. A donor country, like the US, often runs its foreign aid through NGOs. That aid money is tied to requirements. For example, American NGOs that take USAID money must spend some or even all of that money on US goods and services. Congress, in other words, defines what aid missions do on the ground. As a result, the United States sends more of its foreign aid money back to itself than any other nation.
93% of USAID funds come back to the US. 93%. The idea is our taxpayer dollars should go to benefit the U.S. economy, should benefit us.
Critics of Tide Aid say it's inflexible, inefficient, and expensive. Some NGOs don't take USAID money as a result. Most NGOs, however, do.
You can call it non-profiteering, you can call it disaster capital if you like, but that's what's happening right now in Haiti.
Can we go to her tent?
Most people just don't even think when you write a check, you just assume it's, they're do-gooder organizations, they're going to do good with it. And they don't think of the policy context, they don't think of the economic context, they don't think of the political context. These policies are set by donors, these policies are set in Washington, in Brussels, in Geneva. Whenever you have a situation of decisions made here and the decisions implemented here, that distance, that social distance, is ripe for miscommunication and for inequality and for exclusion, and that's what's happening.
One of the main things is that they've had their will removed from them. They don't get to make decisions in their own lives. They have to sit here and wait for people to help them, as opposed to being engaged in the actual decision-making process. Which has
2 days before the hurricane, the people in Querido had poor shelter, few latrines, and really bad advice.
This is Mike. And they've informed them that they should drop their tents.
It's me, Teddy. It's me. You're gonna stage that, and with it all, that will get a flat down.
And then what are you supposed to do? Stay in the flattened tent?
Is it crazy? Everybody is scared right now.
Scared?
Yeah, everybody is scared. Me, I'm not scared. I'm always like that. I'm not scared, I'm cool. They say you have to flood the camp and go. Go where? In the street. It's flooding in the street. The problem is me, I got a baby. Fuck.
Est-ce qu'on peut arrêter là en bas en tot pour bouler soleil pour faire tout jour en bas tot là et petit tout besoin l'école, il va à l'école, petit tout besoin manger, il va à manger. Eh parce qu'on va à côté mes derniers. That's her last child. Ouais, avancez maman. Ouais, ça tot là, on pas qu'être bail. Vous me connaissez dans le monde puis on fait ça faire pour nous, on pas faire vrai. Tout ça nous te gagné, quand nous craser, nous va gagner un petit comme commerce nous tout perdu. On a nous obligé nous rester là, nous presque nous pas connaître ça bon Dieu a dit encore. Qu'on a dit encore pour ton nouvelle cyclone a venir pour nous chercher côté pour nous abriter nous. Mais si que nous te go côté pour nous abriter nous, bah là nous t'abriter. Nous t'a quitté le côté nous pour aller.
How many of them do you think are going to evacuate during the hurricane?
0.
All the people I know who gave money to Haiti, including myself. That is not what we thought would be the situation. That is not a good investment. You know? That's not a good use of funds. So I still question, and I even know at this point where the money went. I'll tell you one thing, it didn't go there.
We saw a small storm that lasted 30 minutes about a month ago that killed 11 people that they know of. The hurricane maybe lasts 8 to 12 hours. What's going to occur? If it rains for an hour, they have to pick up their children and hold them until it stops because all the camps are flooded. They're standing in mud.
Why do you hold the kids? Let me ask you some questions.
Well, you hold your children because you don't want them sitting in the mud, getting covered in water.
Cholera and hurricanes were the two worst things I could think of, because there's a contaminated water source somewhere, and I'm really just kind of praying that it passes without much incident.
Are you a religious guy?
No.
We are in Hsaiti Soleil, which is
the biggest shanty town in the Caribbean.
Hsaiti Soleil was considered bad before the earthquake. Aid workers for many large NGOs never make it there because their organizations don't let them. It's in the red zone. But Alita Frischman can. In fact, Frischman's NGO built their first women's clinic in Hsaiti Soleil.
The way that I decided to create this new organization was I realized that there are a lot of NGOs that are here in Haiti that are doing good work, but nobody's talking to each other.
This is what another small NGO is worried about. Global Dirt was started by Marine Adam Marlette after what he saw as too much bureaucracy and not enough action by aid organizations in Iraq.
Individuals tend to go to disasters, particularly to fill in gaps with the different skills that they have, be it EMS, casualty response, all the way to like large-scale logistics.
Critics say micro-NGOs aren't staffed by professionals and only add to the confusion in a disaster zone. Others say micros are more cost-effective and have specialized skills.
I'm of the mindset, let's take action.
So was Global Dirt. Although when they arrived on the scene of the first cholera outbreak, they ran straight into what bureaucrats do best.
The UN said, go away, we have to go to a meeting, come back tomorrow. We'll take down your names and create a roster and what's your phone number. I'll run this up to my superior, we're going to go have lunch and discuss it. Why don't you just come back tomorrow in the middle of this And kind of like a maelstrom of shit that was kind of just circulating.
And what, by day 3 there were 4,000 people infected?
So what I'm thinking about doing here is possibly a small clinic or community center. Eric from Can Do can level this off and build me a structure right here. This can give you an idea on a small scale of why it can be hard to actually implement some plans that have been produced. So we have what we call an NGO coordination meeting, and let's develop a plan. Let's develop a referral plan. 3 months after we were still holding meetings, we just decided, you know what, we're going to go ahead and do it, because obviously the NGOs couldn't come together. They were arguing over what questions to ask for the focus meeting. I have a 13,000 square foot tent that was donated, and that's where we would like to have more of the community center. And I think the smaller you are, the easier it is to get things done. I don't have to go through 50 emails to ask if I can put up a tent. I can just go put up the tent. So this is what I'm going to do. I think this is a perfect place for our big tent and to start the community outreach right here.
If not us, then who? And there is no who. So it's either, you know, you stay home knowing that you have a skill set that's not being used when something happens, and you watch as other NGOs continue to fuck things up over and over again, and then you have to live with the fact that you knew that you could have been there and that you're capable of not dying in that situation or becoming a burden, or you can do something about it.
There were 6,000 NGOs worldwide in 1990, according to The Economist. Today, there are at least 37,000. That is, the UN stopped counting at 37,000. It's a big business, $120 billion in aid money available every year from about 70 wealthy donor nations.
And then the 120 billion is without the money that you and I take out of our pockets to support our favorite charity with. It is without the money that churches raise. It is without the money that companies raise, you know. So there's a huge amount of money available for an ever-growing amount of international aid organizations who make a living out of spending the aid money, out of helping to spend the aid money.
NGOs are administering, you know, tens of billions of dollars, and that's so these institutions, you know, if your job is to be a director or, you know, a manager of this, you know, part of your successful profile is to get more money.
So how can you compete for funding and then coordinate the work of the others? I mean, I would like the aid to be a business, because business goes out of business unless they are effective.
So we checked in with a businessman. Jeff Feldman started out organizing a relief effort right after the earthquake.
We basically social networked.
He still runs supplies to help small NGOs like Alita Frischman's and Global Dirt.
These have 6,000 doses.
And he works for Habahut, a private company that makes transitional shelters.
What I have personally done is I have basically converted my humanitarian efforts into a business effort. And the place that I believe they have the greatest need is in sheltering.
Is that it?
This is a privately run camp. It doesn't appear on the UN's list of official camps, and the services come from American businessmen.
I come once a week or once every other week. From Miami, it's simple. It's only a couple-hour flight, so it's not terribly difficult. So today, for example, we arrived at 10 a.m. and we'll leave by 5 p.m.
And Feldman was in Haiti this time to help prepare for the hurricane.
But they can't be evacuated anywhere.
That's what Michael's doing right now. He's actually inside speaking with some of the people in the local community here.
Look, you'll love this. 400 kids just did a drill so they go in the house.
Michael Capone is a Miami property developer who bought tents for 4,000 people after the earthquake.
So they're all safe. I did a contract with the family, paid him $300, so all the kids go when the storm comes. This thing at one time had all brand new tents, like every single one of them were like brand new and pretty. We would just have thought that, you know, the tents were supposed to last 3 months, and by now that, you know, the big boys, Clinton foundations and stuff, were going to come here with, you know, houses for everybody, and here we are 9 months later. And we're still in emergency care. That's what it is. our best.
Yeah.
Just blown away that we're still dealing with this stuff.
Meanwhile, in Cité Soleil, Global Dirt was preparing for the hurricane too.
This is why this place will implode if cholera hits here. This is basically a consolidation point for all the drained sewage from these huts and the people living in here. Once rainfall hits this, if anybody shits in that, they'll just disseminate it throughout the area. And everybody around here, just walking in it, touching their feet, eating with their hands, not washing, they'll all get it. Any kind of shit transmissible disease like cholera. Right there, that's why it spreads.
A large NGO can helicopter drop goods and move 100,000 water tablets or a truckload of water. They have access to very large quantities of goods. As a small NGO, we do not.
Chad Walsh is with Grassroots United, a small NGO that connects organizations with volunteers and projects. For example, it was Grassroots United that got Global Dirt to the first cholera outbreak.
What we do have access to is being able to move very quickly, but they don't tend to, we just don't work together. They don't want to know and don't want to hear from us.
Walsh says the tension between big and small in the aid world happens all the time. There are a lot of operational differences, including how they eat.
It's not a good and evil thing, it's just, it's just the way it is. And when I walk into a restaurant once every couple of months, it's not impatient though, but when I walk into a restaurant, it's me spending my personal money because I'm a volunteer and I'm here. I'm not spending donor money, I'm not wasting donors' time.
This got us thinking about a particular restaurant in Pétionville.
So that is the restaurant that we had dinner at a couple nights ago where they're charging $34 per steak. And this is the camp across the street.
Here's the information. Somewhere, like an information booth. Yeah,
that's an information booth?
Yeah.
Somehow when I heard information booth, I didn't think it was going to be a chalkboard. It seems strange to us that there are at least 2 very expensive restaurants right by this camp.
État côté nous y a là pas bon d'abord pour moun qui rentrer dans restaurant parce que les moun rentrer dans gros restaurant comme ça qu'ils pas manger il paraît il ouais dehors après fatra il rentre
et nous sommes avec des dons dans nous aider nous dans partie pour traitement pour avec choléra parce que nous-mêmes dès qu'il faut arriver sur nous mais nous devons prendre précaution avant qu'il arrive sur nous c'est pas arriver sur nous qu'on a des préparations.
Cholera and hurricanes were the 2 worst things I could think of, because there's a contaminated water source somewhere, and I'm really just kind of praying that it passes without much incident.
Are you a religious guy?
No.
Next time on Political Graffiti.
Who actually owns the land? The land laws here in Haiti are so fucked up.
Government employees, they charge bribes for everything.
Gagné déjà expulsé environ 28 000 personnes et gagné environ 144 000 personnes et qui a subi menace pour expulsion en tant qu'abdominaux.
People here are not safe, their government is not responsible for them, and that every time we have a storm come by, it's an international disaster.
Yeah, if you're doing like 70 miles a wind.
70 miles?
The actual main part of the storm hasn't hit yet. The eye is just passing the southern peninsula. They're still calling for up to 10 inches of rain to be falling before this is all over.
Bien, c'est la vache. Pas dormir. Comme si vont balai de l'eau voyer, ils vont nos problèmes. La mer avec pas botter, c'est que la mer pour pas bataille c'est nous perdre.
They were afraid of the wind, so they each held a child.
Hurricane Thomas was predicted to hit Port-au-Prince within hours. 2 million were left vulnerable in the camps despite billions of dollars in aid.
They're expecting in a lot of areas 15 inches of rain. Yeah, if you're doing like 70 miles a wind.
70 miles?
Just wanted to tell you that it's not good.
It's not good.
The closer it came, the more nervous people got.
What is that line?
For go to get cash in the bank.
Wow. It's 2 to 3 hour wait.
Whatever services.
The hurricane that's coming is supposed to last like 12 hours, they're saying.
At 4 p.m., the rain began to fall. Most internally displaced persons, or IDPs, did not evacuate the camps. They told us all they had now was in flimsy tents on the land they stood on, except they didn't even have the land. The facade of land rights is something the NGOs grappled with long before the hurricane.
Who actually owns the land?
The fact is, the lack of coordination and accountability among NGOs are big reasons why Haiti's IDPs were still IDPs 10 months after the quake. But another reason, no one really knows who owns the land in Haiti.
The land laws here in Haiti are so fucked up. It is just absolutely horrid. A gentleman was trying to sell a piece of land to somebody that I know for a development. 8 people showed up claiming to own the same land, and they all had documents. I'm going to need something in writing from anybody that has claims to this property.
The land registry hasn't been updated for decades, and many of the records that did exist were lost in the quake. So even the most effective aid organization runs into the problem of the landowners, or those who claim to be.
Ils ont déjà expulsé environ 28 000 personnes, donc expulsion forcée, et gagné environ 144 000 personnes qui ont subi menace pour expulsion en tant qu'avenir.
How are they expelled? Is it the army? Is it the police? Who's doing this?
Propriétaire terrain, en Haïti, il y a grandon, on dit qu'il y a pile terrain, il y a grandon, mais gagné.
And they'll kick off just about anyone.
We had in April when the bulldozers were here going over everyone's houses. It was her house that the bulldozer was about to hit it.
Bon, les bulldozers étaient venus là pour lutter casser canaux, c'était dans le mois d'avril, et puis à blanc mac, et t'étais pas en pile dégâts, t'étais en pile quand la te bâti net. Et puis actuellement, blanc mac t'es passé, il était du moins, si au fin casser canaux, il était bon numéro téléphone.
We had to explain that there was a young child who lived there, an elderly blind woman, and 2 young girls that were inside the house that was about to be bulldozed, and that's how we finally got human rights officers from the United Nations to come out here.
As Haiti's chief relocation advisor, Gerard-Emile Brun was supposed to find a place for the IDPs to go. And he did. It might look familiar. The owner of this land stood to make millions for allowing the IDPs on it. The owner is a company called Nabatac. The president of Nabatac is Gerard-Emile Brun. NGOs and donor nations say that this kind of corruption is one reason why they don't report to or work with the Haitian government. Less than 1% of the billions in aid has gone to or through Haiti's government.
The Dole Amendment prevented the U.S. government from giving money to the government of Haiti.
And if the money continues to bypass the government, how will Haitians ever be able to take care of themselves?
People say, well, donors channel the money outside the government, so there is no corruption. And it's the contrary. When you have all this money circulating outside government control, first of all, government employees, they charge bribes for everything because they see all the money circulating, and of course that's what's going to happen. So it's creating corruption.
Many of the aid workers and others we met were in Haiti to make a difference and then leave.
We want to work ourselves out of a job, and then what we'll do is reevaluate. If there's any more gaps, we'll fill those gaps and do the same thing, try to fill up, work our way out of a job.
I want to be done with Haiti. I mean, in my particular job, what says to me is that, if foreigners like yourselves still want to come to Haiti and do stories on Haiti and it's still in the international limelight, it means that we have done something wrong.
I look at Haiti as a tremendous opportunity. I believe that the best days for this country are in front of them.
But in order to make real change in Haiti, there has to be real change in the way aid functions.
To ask NGOs to not do things the way they've been doing for 20 years is going to be difficult. But I think that you got some that are willing to do it.
So what is to be done? Graciana Del Castillo says, start with a matrix.
You have to have a matrix to see who is going to do what and where. Because what's happening now is that one is doing a school here, the other one is doing a road there, and nobody knows what's going on. My matrix is not very ambitious. My matrix focuses on few things that can be done in the short run and that can have an impact on those groups that were most affected by the crisis.
The idea here is not that you should stop giving money to aid organizations. Rather, experts say, give wisely and hold NGOs accountable if they aren't already doing so themselves.
If you decide to move in to help people, if you decide to move in to intervene in humanitarian suffering, or to intervene in the course of history, you decide to pour your billions into a country, then make bloody sure that you know what you're doing.
It's up to taxpayers also to put pressure on governments to ensure that they are supporting the NGOs that are really having a positive impact.
Who is accountable to me? The U.S. government is accountable to me. CARE, who gets U.S. government money, is not accountable to me but to U.S. government. So as a citizen, who I have the most effectiveness with is my government. And remember that the NGOs don't exist in a vacuum. They exist in a very specific policy and political and economic milieu where they respond to external pressures. Call your senator, call your congressperson, make this, write letters to the editor, have a relatively, simple message and an actual constituency that can make changes like Congress.
For once, Haiti got lucky. Hurricane Thomas skirted the island. There was still wind and rain, but it wasn't the storm that many feared.
Oh, man.
With rain still falling, we went back to Camp Caradoc.
The storm wasn't as bad as everybody thought it was going to be because the wind didn't pick up.
We saw Edith as soon as we pulled in.
Further down. Did your tent flood last night? Can she show us? So we're going to go see if Vilna, who we met 2 days ago, how she did during the storm. Ça va? Bonjour. Yeah? Okay. Bonjour.
Bien, ça va. Pas dormir. Comme si va le doit voyer, il va nous problème. La mère a dit pas beauté, c'est que la mère pour pas bataille c'est nous faire.
They were afraid of the wind, so they shelled the child.
In Haiti, the aid world promised us and promised each other to do it different this time.
Here you need managers, you need people who are willing to do things and to take risks and to do things not in the best way because, all the distortions that you have in emergencies, but you have to do it.
So there was going to be this one center, this one commission that would judge all the projects that were being proposed and that would judge the budgets that were being promised to see if it would serve this communal goal in the interest of the Haitian people. And everybody was cheering, They said, yes, this is the new phase of humanitarian aid. This is when we will stop our old mistakes. This is finally we will cooperate, all of us. And as soon as the goal was formulated, as soon as the commission was actually established, chaired amongst others by ex-President Clinton, as soon as it was there in place, they started to ignore it.
It's like if you're rushed into the hospital with a liver infection that could be deadly. You get into the hospital and the doctor tells you, yes, you have a liver infection, but you are overweight, so let's put you on a diet. Does it make sense? This is what we are doing in Haiti.
So again, in Haiti, the aid organizations and the aid donors are making the same old mistakes. And they promised to do better this time.